Okay, so good day everyone. So for our lesson 10 in art appreciation, we will be discussing about soul making. So soul making cannot be defined. So according to Heraclitus, so he said that you could not discover the limits of your soul. So even if you travel by every path in order to do so, such is in the depth of meaning. So aside from Heraclitus, so there are other scholar pa who give a definition of soul making, and that is John Keats. So he explained soul making as a process where the basic need of divine intelligence in all human goes through necessary experiences, especially suffering that transfer the intelligence into a unique soul. So just like Heraclitus, so John Keats says that our soul making has something to do with the suffering and the experiencing that we do have as we go on our journey here on earth. So according to Jean Keats, so he was a person during that time na hinahanap niya yung sarili niya o nagso-soul making siya. He has a tuberculosis during that time at the age of 25. So he was a brilliant writer who knew that he would not live long enough to complete the body of poetic work he longed to create. So extremely ill, financially broke, and recently abandoned by his fiancée, so he struggled to make sense of this code alive. Actually, on his letter written to his brother in February of 1819, so Keats was checking and was seeking to make sense of a world that seemed so cruel and unfair. So he cannot accept the usual Christian view when he wrote on his letter, ganito yung sinabi niya, class, the common label of this world among the misguided and superstitious is a veil of tears from which we are to be redeemed by a certain arbitrary interposition of God and taken to heaven. So he suggests that call the road if you please. So the value of soul making, then you will find out the use of the road. So meaning to say, John Keats has explained to us that soul making is a process of what? Of where the basic seed of our divine intelligence has going through because of suffering and the different experiences that we experience as we go along with our life. So sabi niya din, souls acquire identity. So how it will acquire identities only if it already feel and suffer in a thousand diverse ways. So meaning to say, as various as the lives of men are, so there are also various souls, and thus God make individual beings a soul. So ibig sabihin, lahat tayo class, magkakaiba man tayo ng personality, magkakaiba tayo ng attitude. So, ibig sabihin, magkakaiba din tayo ng souls, because we also have different experiences and different sufferings in life. So, soul making is a metaphor. So the word metaphor is comprised of two Greek words, meta, which means above, and pero, to carry. So metaphor is an image or phrase that carries the reader above the literal sensory realm of into the realm of invisible imagination. So meaning to say, kapag sinabi nating soul making, it's what? It's invisible imagination of our self. So 'di ba usually kapag nagso-soul making tayo, we do a reflection. We do a reflection of how is our life or what is our purpose of life, and we are looking of our life into a positive perspective, and even we are looking for dun sa mga katanungan na what will it become for me on the future. So kaya siya ay involves the realm of invisible imagination. Soul making is also a poetry making. So it comes to the Greek word poi, which means to be the author or maker of something. So soul making is a psychopoiesis or soul of poetry. Okay? So meaning to say, for example, so rather than a soul builder or a soul grower, that the emphasis is on what? On creative or intelligent authorship of our life. So the making is not done by impersonal process but by intelligent process. So in that case, we can say that soul making is also poetry making. So sa paghahanap daw ng ating sarili or on the process of the soul making, so we are also writing our own poetry. And that poetry is the poetry of our soul or the poetry of our life. So universe is not a lifeless debris field resulting the Big Bang theory, but a living organism. So the universe is animated or a living soul. And psyche is comprised of many brilliant aspects ranging from numbers and geometric shapes to qualities like life, death, chaos, and order. So yung universe daw na meron tayo class ngayon, yun daw ay isang malaking living soul. And in that living soul, so it also comprises by different souls. Ano, kasi it's because on universe, so different people ang makikita mo dito. So kaya it comprises a different soul. And those different soul daw has what? Has a unique quality. And that unique quality is determined by our life, our death, and the chaos and the order that we experience here on the universe. So one way to understand this is to imagine the universe as an immense dictionary filled with an infinite number of living words or archetypes. So all human institutions, feelings, ideas, pains, pleasures are the writing instrument that compose our soul. So ito class yung sinasabi ko kanina sa inyo, because we do have different personality and we are different people from one another. So we experience different feelings, ideas, and pains and pleasures in life. And those are used in order to compose the own poetry of our soul. So, our partners, education, jobs, abuses, failures, and whole host of circumstantial coincidences are part of the poem. So, meaning to say anything that we do and anything that we have experienced on our journey habang nabubuhay tayo dito sa mundong ibabaw is part of the making or the as part of the composer nung ating own poetry about our soul and life. So meaning to say also that we are a co-creator in the soul making process. So we choose the words and the words choose us. So if you have seen magnetic poetry on a refrigerator door, so you have a good illustration of soul making. So it may be silly or sublime, but it is an interaction between you and the words. And if you are very observant, so you will see that words choose you. Our human desire for poetry comes from the higher realms, not vice versa. We write and read poetry because we are poetry. So meaning to say the eternal words that we will be using on the making of our own poem can be infinite, interactive, and symbiotic in energies. Okay? So philosophers and holy teachers have named this process by variously, referring to the fates, destiny, providence, demons, guardian angels, the stars, and a host of other terms referring to a life guided by more than random chances. So, yung pagsulat natin class ng ating own soul making poetry. So, this has also influenced nung tinatawag natin ng mga tadhana, destiny, or nung mga sinasabi ng matatanda about or ng mythology about guardian angels and even on our stars. Okay? So, lastly, so soul making is not an empirical science. So, interestingly, many scientists working at the level of quantum reality are wondering whether there is such a thing as empirical or objective science. So, as a conclusion, we can say that soul making is beyond definition. So you could not discover the limit of your soul, di ba nga, ika ni Heraclitus. So we live in an intelligent universe. So some form of mysterious intelligence encompasses the seemingly random chaos and resultant order as order that is beyond our assumed understanding of order. So this universe is suffused with poetic words or living energies that are part of the soul-making process. And each of us has a unique poem. So gradually being weaved together using words, are using infinite words of the universe. So every incident and event is part of our epic poem. So while there may be tragedies and betrayals, troubles and failures, success and victory, so there are no useless words in your poem. And most of it goes on at levels we cannot see or understand. In that sense, we are the author of our own poetry for our own soul.